Welcome, everybody. It is great to have you here, and I won't take a long time at the podium today because we're a little off schedule, thanks to me, so my apologies. But this is a very special day for the Brown Foundations, and I hope it is for all of you, too. We're here because of the success of Burr Brown Corporation and Tom Brown. And what we are trying to do is perpetuate the capabilities, the values, and the excitement that Burr Brown made possible. And it was very successful in large part because of engineers who graduated from the University of Arizona. And for that reason, we're very indebted to the University of Arizona and the education that goes on here. The company was a global company. 2/3 of the sales were out of the U.S. And it excelled because it got a reputation for excellence. And, you know, we made the very best line of products that existed. Yeah.
You had a product in every CD player in the world. Yeah.
So it's about excellence and discipline and thoughtfulness and teamwork. And those are all things that we think this group of people here embodies. And it's our honor and our privilege to be able to help you on your path and to have lunch with you and to enjoy your successes, as I'm sure you will have many of them. And I want to say thank you for filling out the cards at the front with your contact information. One of the things we're trying to do is improve our website, and we'd like to make it a resource. So any feedback you have would be most welcome. And one of the things, we'd like to have of course, protected area, but a directory, so you can get a hold of each other, because undoubtedly you'll be doing interesting things in your career. So with that, what I would like to do is stop talking. And as many of you know, and some of you may not know, one of the core things we do every luncheon is we show a video that, thank goodness for the College of Engineering, they had their wits about them, they taped it. This is when our father, Tom Brown, was awarded the Technology Executive of the Year by the Eller College. And he got up and he talked about his experience being an entrepreneur and Burr Brown and what he thought made that success possible. And we just show it every year because it's kind of short and sweet and to the point, and nothing like hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. So enjoy the video, enjoy your lunch, and after lunch, Dr. Goldberg will be up with a few words.
So we got one set of notes. So I'd like to welcome everyone here as well. In particular, I'd like to thank our host, Sarah and Mary in particular, great friends of the College of Engineering, great friends of the Eller College, great friends of the College of Science, great friends of the entire university. If JP were here, not JP Rosniak, if JP Jones were here, he would say great friends of social behavioral science as well. I think I've done this now 6 or 7 times. That shows you how old I am. Every time I see that video, I like it better and better every single time. And I keep thinking, you know, what would Tom Brown think of the way we do computing now? Where it's not 1,000, it's 10 million, right? And what would he think of something like that? But it is still true. We still need to go to class. Pardon me? Osiris-Rex, right. What would he think about the computing required to do something like that? But he is right. We still do need to go to class. So there are some invariant theorems that never change. That's one of those kinds of theorems that we get a chance to do. I also like the fact that when they talk about products, they talk about a noble purpose. It's not just about making a buck. We want to build things. We want to do things that really help people. When we recruit students to engineering now, and I got my lead recruiter here, I think I saw Rebecca Primo over there, and I think I saw Jim Bages' team. We like to recruit students into engineering. Come into engineering if you really want to learn how to help people. And when I read some of the student names, you'll get a chance to, hopefully get a chance to talk with them as well, and you really see how they're all focused on that kind of noble purpose of how do we use the skills that we learn here at the University of Arizona to go out there and make the world better and to help people. And to think about the products, like I said, I wasn't joking. I really do believe that there was an analog to digital converter from Burr Brown in every CD player on the planet. I mean, if you think about the scale of that for a second, it's absolutely incredible. There's a guy who's videotaping me. Are we videotaping? So I better be careful a little bit here. I don't want to get too terrible. I didn't realize that. I better be careful? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, and so we're still good friends with TI. You shouldn't think that we're not. In fact, I've had more meetings with TI in the last year, largely due to Sarah going over to TI and twisting their arm, and then them coming over and me twisting the arm of electrical and computer engineering, and getting to the point where we're very close on an analog position that can meet some of TI's needs. They also sponsored 5 senior design projects this year. They also are interested in trying to figure out how do we get the image of TI to not be the calculator company. By the way, I think that's about 2% of TI's whole business, the calculator piece. They're really a semiconductor piece, as Tom said, and that kind of investment. We still go on those words, right? You've got to have ability, and Tom Brown was part of that ability. You better have passion, else it's really hard to move forward when the going gets tough. And I can't imagine no salary for 3 years, right? Because I don't think either my wife or I or my children would have been too happy with that strategy. And you better have resources as well, and you do what you can to make those resources. So again, one of my favorite events. I've had so much opportunity. I want to thank both Mary and Sarah and John and David as well. I mean, I know it's a whole family effort. It's a whole team effort here. We can't be anywhere near as good without you. And I want to thank you for your patience as well with really slow processes that happen at this university, but they will get faster at some point in time. Let me introduce our speaker for a couple minutes here. Adriana Stone, sophomore, studying in optical sciences and engineering at the U of A, originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Way cool. Moved to Phoenix in 2010, then came down here where the good life is to study engineering. Last summer, she was a research assistant in the optical sciences polarization lab. Took images of her hand for virtual reality applications. Pretty cool. Get a chance to do that. She's the social chair for the Alpha Kappa chapter of Phi Sigma Rho. It's a science and engineering sorority, which I think is fairly new on campus. Mentor-mentee relationships, undergraduate women in engineering, and this is part of the reason why we're so far above the national numbers in women in engineering, where we're 25%, and the national numbers are at 19 or 20%. She's academic chair for the Women in Optics. That's a club that seeks to unify women studying optics from both graduate and undergraduate levels, and another opportunity for great mentorship. After graduating, the plan is to go into optics PhD. We're not going to hold you to that. You've got a couple of years to go, and the world may change between now and then, but congratulations on getting such a great start. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Adriana. I'm a sophomore studying optical engineering. I felt like I was in a much better position this past August when I was asked to write a thank you letter to the Thomas R. Brown Foundation than when I wrote one last year, which was immediately prior to my freshman year at U of A. I'd like to think that I'm a woman of action, and it makes me feel infinitely better stating that I'm thankful for this scholarship when I have a year of work and evidence to show for it. I knew when I started my classes in the fall that I wanted to push myself beyond what I had done in high school. I wanted to be uncomfortable in the best way possible, and I wanted to capitalize on my callowness of being a freshman. The chief rationalization I pushed on myself when I felt like I didn't belong somewhere or when I was noticeably the youngest person there was, you're a freshman, no one expects anything of value from you. Assume that people already don't like you, even if just for your ignorance. Admittedly, not the most uplifting mantra, but it pushed me to do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise or would have been too intimidated to do before. At best, I could impress people, and at worst, people couldn't think any less of me, so I should just go for it. I was fortunate enough to make the decision to insert myself into the Women in Optics Club in the College of Optical Sciences. They needed temporary help with an outreach event, and I was a newly minted fan of optical sciences, so I volunteered. One outreach One outreach event turned into 2, turned into 3, and turned into 4, and soon I found myself surrounded by women who were far superior to me in education level, and yet I felt comfortable enough to call them my friends. In the spring semester, they invited me to their annual Launching Your Career Symposium. Comparably a neophyte, I attended this event, which was wholly meant for grad students, and in the middle of aimlessly wandering around a poster session, decided that it was one of the more awkward experiences of my life, but ultimately beneficial. I'm continuing with Women in Optics this year as academic chair. Along that same strain, in February of last year, after a routine Women in Optics meeting, I approached one of the women who was nearing the end of her PhD program and asked her about her experience in grad school and if she had any pro tips for me. After a very insightful and informative conversation, she suggested that I send her my resume so she could forward it to her advisor and to see if he would consider me for an undergraduate research position in his lab. I wasn't too terribly hopeful, but underqualified and underinformed, I got the job. I spent the summer imaging my hand in a polarimeter, an instrument that characterizes the polarization of light, in hopes that the polarization of light after reflecting off of skin can allow virtual reality devices to discern between fingernails and wrinkles and freckles and whatnot. I'm happy to say that I'm still working on the project and plan to present my first poster at a physics conference in January. One of the things that I did not think I would ever do in college is join a sorority. It's not my style. I surprised even myself when I decided to rush Phi Sigma Rho, a science and engineering sorority, which at the time was just a colony at the University of Arizona. As part of the inaugural Alpha class, I've had the privilege to see our little sorority of engineers grow from a colony to a full-fledged chapter, and along the way admired how a group of not always social women formed to one of the strongest support systems I have ever seen, let alone be a part of. Phi Sigma Rho has given me study buddies, friends, and allies, and has always ensured that no matter how downtrodden I felt, I never felt alone. This year, I am the social chair for the Alpha Kappa chapter of Phi Sigma Rho. The Thomas R. Brown Scholarship has afforded me the flexibility to pursue my interests without the apprehension of worrying about funding. This generous scholarship has opened innumerable doors for me and continues to be one of the biggest supporters of my education and personal development. And for that, I thank you.
Great. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to get a chance to hear the students talk from their experiences and from the heart. And we don't have a lot of sorority and fraternity students, as it turns out, but it's really a great opportunity. And it's like I said, it's a brand new group, I think, and so it's great that we have the opportunity to provide that. Let me bring up my good friend Paulo Goes, new Dean of Eller. This is his first event like this, and so let me say a couple of words. It's good to have somebody in the Eller Dean that's exciting, past engineer. Actually, you're always an engineer, right? You're never not an engineer, right? It's not something we throw you out of, as long as there's no ethics issues. And so, and I like the word you say, a woman of action, and that Paulo is a man of action. And it's really nice to have someone that when he comes over and he starts talking to us, and he says he wants to do something, there's actually some backup, and there's actually some action that happens, and there's really shows that he really wants to do something. So it's a pleasure to have such a great partner. We've already had a number of interactions on Eller Executive Ed with the entrepreneurship program, and we're looking for more opportunities. So let me bring my friend, who I've known for 10 years at least, to the chair here, and it's glad to have you at this event, in this position.
Thank you, Jeff. As you know, I was next speaker to Jeff, and I was not sitting on the edge of my chair, and people are not leaving the room. Right? So my great pleasure to be here. As Jeff mentioned, I've been the dean now for about 6 months. So this is indeed my first event. And when I was watching the video, I had to just think how timely it is. Everything that was said by Thomas Brown applies right now and will continue to apply in the future. One of my strategic priorities for the Eller College is to collaborate much more closely with other units, especially engineering. We have the tradition of the McGuire Center that's been around for 30 years. 34 years. But I really want to make that one of our pillars to really move our programs forward. Innovation is the big theme that we are going to be pursuing. And innovation is about the convergence of engineering and management, the words from Thomas Brown. So the more we can do together, and Jeff and I have started to just brainstorm and talk about the different ideas. You have all these bright students in engineering finding solutions, coming up with their senior projects. We have all the business acumen, all the business knowledge that we can kind of marry together with engineering, sizing the market, understanding consumers, building financial models. So that has to be the platform for innovation as we pursue that big theme for the university as a whole. So that's, I'm committed to that. That's one of my strategic directions. And I think the Thomas Brown Foundation is exactly about that. It's exactly about supporting activities that provide that marriage between engineering and technology and management. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the generous support that we have received over the years for students, for faculty, from the Thomas Brown Foundation. We are very happy to be partner with you. So Brian will actually be the next speaker, and I'd like to introduce him. Brian Iberson is an honors student majoring in mechanical engineering with a minor in aerospace engineering. He has been admitted to this year's McGuire Entrepreneurship Program cohort, where he hopes to put his technical background to use by advancing innovation through a new venture. So that partnership, engineering students working together with McGuire business students. Brian has worked as a process and engineer intern at W.L. Gore and Associates, and as a technician here at the U of A Soft Tissues Biomechanics Lab. Brian? Before Brian starts speaking, I just wanted to recognize Harriet Sitter, our development person, who has helped tremendously to put this together. Harriet?
Well, thank you for that amazing introduction. I'd like to take my time to first off thank you, the Thomas Brown's Foundation, for putting on this amazing event and treating us college students to an amazing meal. Doesn't get to happen too often. So last semester I was with my fraternity at an intramural sports game, and I decided to check my phone real quick, and I realized I had an email from the U of A. It said, "Congratulations, you're a scholarship recipient." So my eyes lit up, and I turned to my buddy Clark, and I was like, "Clark, I want a scholarship." And he's like, "Awesome. Can we get back to the game now? Like, put your phone down." So I was like, "Okay." And so after the game, I called my mom, called my dad, my brother, my sister, and kind of told them the amazing news of how I was a scholarship recipient, and kind of let them know how much that meant to me. And so the reason I'm telling you this story is because I feel like as a scholarship foundation, you don't really get to experience that first moment of when a student realizes that he's being awarded for his hard work. And in the eyes of me, it's all of us appreciate being able to come to such an amazing university, but it becomes a grind. You have your endless tests, your work, your research, just the opportunities that confront you that you feel overwhelmed with. And so when awarded a scholarship like this, it almost gives us students a breath of fresh air. It lets you sit back and realize, wow, these nights of hard work, these early mornings, these hours of studying really do pay off, and it's almost like a second win for us. And so it gives me a second chance to come back and continue to finish up my studies hard, finish out senior year strong. And so it's been such a blessing to not only me, but my family as well. So last semester, my mother was actually diagnosed with breast cancer, and when our family found that out, I took it on as I wanted to take my senior year to put more financial responsibility upon myself. And so the scholarship really couldn't have come at a better time for me as well as my family. And from the bottom of their hearts, they appreciate all the extra funding that's allowed me to enjoy so many more things my senior year. And apart from that, being in the McGuire program, we just formed our new venture teams. And we kind of got off to a great start, and the conversation that came up was initial funding. What are you going to do when you need to make your prototype, when you need to put something out on display? And so I have more than gladly set aside a part of my scholarship to fund our initial venture and kind of see where it takes us, because this program isn't just, you know, a shot at making a new team. It's a shot at really coming up with a product that could be a lifelong thing for me as well as my other teammates. And so from the bottom of their hearts as well, they thank you for that initial funding. And I'm more than ecstatic to see where our new venture can take us. So the studies will be finished up strong my senior year. And I know that all of us scholarship recipients really do appreciate the recognition that you've given us, the opportunity to sit back and say, wow, you know, these hard nights of studying really do pay off, and it means a lot to all of us, and especially from myself. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and we hope to make you guys proud.
So you're welcome to all those thank yous. It's our honor and our privilege. And one of the things I hope we can maybe do with our website is when there's ideas that emanate from you and your teams and your goals and passions need to be reinvested in, that could be a smart thing to talk to us about. Because it is a struggle, I know, in higher education right now. And despite what they all say, it's not all administrative bloat. It has a lot to do with the fact that the public sector has really pulled out of higher education, and it's a shame. And philanthropy can't fill every hole, but it's really important if you've got the education, you've got the enthusiasm, and you've got the vision, that there's people around you that believe in you and want to help you, and that's what we want to do. So, but right now, all we want to do is take your picture. So we're going to meet out here in the side courtyard, and I don't have a watch either. What time is it? Okay, we have 20 minutes, and we'll take an engineering group, and we'll take an Eller group, and we'll take a professor's group, and we'll take whatever else pictures. If you guys want pictures with us or your professors, and that's all out there, and then the U of A. But this is a joint event. The Brown Foundation hosts the luncheon, but really it has been Claudia and Harriet and the university staff who have, filming us, who handled all the RSVPs and lunch reservations and made the arrangements. So thanks to all of them for this lovely event. And I'll see you on the patio.